Big LEZ'S League, an all rugby league experience.
Hello, welcome back to Big LEZ'S League and all rugby league experience. I'm your host, Big Les. Welcome to the Origin 1 2025 preview. We're going to go through a bunch of the main points going into this one, a lot of the key matchups. We've got the team list here, got them up here as well. We're going to get stuck into this preview, but first, make sure if you haven't already, click the subscribe button below, become a part of the Big LEZ'S League community. I've got plenty of content, especially around the Origin period coming, and hopefully some more fun and interesting content coming your way as well. We've got the Breaking Bread show. The drawing board will be returning this week as well. On a little bit of a hiatus with the drawing board content, the Supercoach stuff, just trying to fit it into my timetable. I'm working currently 4 days a week, balancing that with a lot of extracurricular activities as well, playing footy, playing OzTag. There's a lot happening. So we're just trying to fit everything in, and we'll obviously keep you guys updated with everything that's happening from this point forward as well. But let's get stuck into State of Origin. Obviously, it's like Big LEZ'S Christmas. Origin's my favourite time of the year. Love watching State of Origin footy and getting stuck into the team lists and all of the rumours around Origin. It's literally my cup of tea. It's what I love doing every single year. And I can't wait to get stuck in to this preview. If you want a bit more of a deep dive and a breakdown into the team list and things like that, and what we might be able to see, who's going to play what side of the field, all that sort of stuff, that video is live, the team list breakdown. It's about an hour long. We go deep into the team list and what we could see, all of the main points, like a preview before the preview. So if you want to get stuck into that, that video is live now, but this is going to be more so a preview into the game that we're going to see on Wednesday night. We are recording this on Monday, guys, as well. So any changes to the team list after 12 p.m. on Monday, we won't be covering on this podcast. Let's get stuck in though. So, for the Blues, just to quickly rattle through the team list, we've got Edwards at fullback, To'o Lomax wings, Trell Critter centres. We've got Moses and Cleary in the halves. We've got Haas and Barnett front row, Robson 9, Martin, Angus and Yo in the back row. We've got Watson, King, Lenu, Young on the bench. Reserves, Stretch, Stefano, Hamole, Olakawatu. For the Maroons, KP fullback, Coates and Valentine Holmes on the wings. Hammer, Toya, centres. We've got Munster DCE halves. We've got Mo Fodawaker and Tino Sulamala Aoi front row, Grant at 9. We've got Cotter and Nanai in the back rows with Carrigan at 13. Dearden, Collins, Firma, Liero bench. We've got Mann, Arthurs and Kulekefu Finefuyaki there in the reserves. So very strong teams for both sides. As I said, the team list reactions are already live on the podcast, so we're just going to get stuck into the preview combos, what we could see in this game, and our predictions. So just kicking off with some of the main points for the Blues. For me, Edwards is going to be a watch. Is he 100%? That's the question on everyone's lips coming into this game. Is Dylan Edwards 100%? Because obviously, the past few weeks, he's had an injury coming into the season. He was out for a little stage there. And since coming back, he still hasn't looked 100%. He's probably playing at about 70%. You obviously want Edwards at 100% in this sort of game. And if he's not, and, New South Wales go on to lose this game, there will be a question mark around Dylan Edwards and what to do with him as well. So, that's definitely going to be the watch for me in this game. Dylan Edwards, is he 100%? Because he needs to be firing on all cylinders. Speaking on fullbacks in this side, Latrell Mitchell, he's actually going to be given a roaming license. It sounds like, just listening to a few people that are close to training and all of the rumours coming out of New South Wales camp, it sounds like Latrell Mitchell is going to be given a roaming license to, especially in their sweep or wedge sets, on their arrow sets when they're spreading long side. Usually in a wedge, you'd get a front rower running the block for a 7. You'd get another back rower or front rower running a block for a 6. You'd have the fullback out the back, centre wingers there. And that's basically the idea of that wedge or spread set, whatever you want to call it. But it sounds like the Trell Mitchell will be at the back of that shape. and they've done a few little plays with Latrell Mitchell going at the back of that shape. I don't know if that's specifically when spreading to the left side of the field or whether that's going to the right and he comes around and swings around the back. If we see Critter even in that sort of shape, spreading at the back like a second fullback as well, that could be really dangerous. But I'm keen to see if Trell is given that roaming license. If they are spreading to the left, is it going to disrupt where they've got and take out the numbers if Trell is at the back of shape rather than in that centre hole? Or whether it's just when they're spreading to the right-hand side of the field, he comes off his edge and spreads out the back and creates that extra number. Keen to see what that looks like, but it does sound interesting. It does sound dangerous. Latrell Mitchell on both sides of the ruck creating havoc is dangerous. I just don't want it to take away from him at centre. He's a great centre. He's one of the better centres in the game. And the best part of Latrell Mitchell is that he can come into a game, even if he's quiet for 60 minutes, he can come into a game, have a big moment, and all of a sudden the side's back into the contest. So I don't want to take it away too much from Latrell at centre. I don't want him to roam too much. But, in specific plays when it's on, if they're going to the right-hand side and they need that extra number, if he comes at the back of shape, that would be so dangerous. So keen to see, as I said, what it looks like. But yeah, Trell Mitt apparently been given a little bit of a roaming license, which will be really cool to see. I guess the next point I've got here is the Moses and Cleary dynamic. Keen to see what that looks like. Now, the rumour is, and just listening to a few interviews from players, it sounds like that Latrell Mitchell will be on the left-hand side of the field. There was a lot of rumours saying that he was going right. Sounds like he's going to be on the left. Toto said that he's keen to reignite that combination with him as well. So it sounds like that those two will be on the left-hand side. Now, Lomax as well came out and said on the bye round when he was going around and interviewing everyone, during the training sessions, Lomax said that he's keen to ignite a partnership or a combination with Nathan Cleary. So what I would sort of gather from that is that Cleary is playing right side and that Moses is on the left. So keen to see again what that looks like. And it's a big risk to take because you've got to remember last year, Game 3 or even Game 2 in the Origin series for the Blues, the right-hand combo was Moses, Martin, and then you also had Critter and Lomax. That was your right-hand side combination. Now breaking that up and moving Cleary back to that right-hand side and moving Moses over, who was so successful on that right, over to the left and creating a new combo there. It is a big risk to take. There's obviously a level of familiarity with Moses on that right side with that full right combination that we would have seen back in Game 3 last year. It is a big risk to take, in my opinion, but I think it will still work. And I'm keen to see this dynamic really play out and who is the 6, who is the 7. Obviously, Cleary's got the 7 on his back. It looks like it's his side, but keen to see maybe if there is a little bit of GST on some of the things that we're hearing, and maybe Cleary does play on the left, Moses on the right, and we get that 7 and 6 combo where Moses is really the 7, but Cleary obviously wears the 7 on his back and plays at the back of shape as a second receiver. And you know what? I think that they'll alternate too. I don't think it's going to be a set 7 and a set 6. If Cleary sees something, he's going to go for it. If Moses sees something, he's going to go for it. There's pros to that. There's also cons to that. Obviously as well, just dropped my notes. Awesome. Obviously, the cons of that would be that if one person sees something and then another person sees something, for example, if Cleary wants a short side raid on that left, but Moses has a real good wedge shape set up on the right side and they're both calling for the ball, it's hard for Robson to make that decision of who to go to as well. If they're both two very dominant players, it could create errors. It could create, obviously a little bit of, back and forth and fighting between the two halfbacks as to, what their vision is. But I also think that they're both mature enough as players to sort of back each other as well. And I think Moses will know at some stages to take the back seat, especially with the 6 jersey on his back. So keen to see the dynamic. There's going to be pros to it. There's going to be cons to it. There's going to be, there's going to be stages in this game where they're working each other out as well, and just seeing what they're like together. And they've had the chance to do that at training in Blues camp as well. Haven't really had the chance to watch training myself, but just all the things that I'm hearing, it looks like it's going to be a real good combination. So keen to see how it works out. Keen to see who is the more dominant out of the two. But then again, I also see a dynamic where they share those roles. And as I said, if Cleary sees something and if Moses sees something, they're each going to take their moments as well, and wear the 7 from a metaphorical standpoint. Payne Haas. We talked about Edwards being 100%. Payne Haas, is he 100% coming into this game as well? That's a big thing for me. Payne Haas obviously doing some fitness testing today when we're recording on the Monday. So we're keen to get the word out of that. It sounds like he is going to be 100% to play. But Laurie Daly did mention in an interview on Channel 9 that if Haas isn't 100% and he has to be ruled out, Stefano will come straight in and play in the starting front row. You guys will probably know before I do because, as I said, we're recording this Monday midday. This is going to come out Tuesday afternoon, so I think you guys will know probably before I do. But yeah, Payne Haas, hopefully 100% because he's going to be a big part as to if we win or lose this game. He's a forward that can play big minutes. He's been dominant for majority of the year with his partner in Carrigan. Barnett, obviously a really good high-level forward as well that can play big minutes. And they're going to be going after this Queensland side, and I almost feel like we are going to get that level of physicality we saw in Game 3 where for 60 minutes straight, it was an absolute fucking grudge match. And I can't wait for it as well. Especially going up to Suncorp in Game 1. There's going to be, Queensland are going to have their, mindset of coming in. We've got to get the first win at Suncorp at home, take the opportunity that it presents itself. But New South Wales are going to, come in and, this is Game 1 at Suncorp. Moses has won at Suncorp before. They're going to come in with that mentality as well that they can get the job done up there. So that grudge match is going to be really great. But hopefully Payne Haas is 100% in that. Even if Payne Haas is 90%, I still want him playing. I'd only rule him out if it was he cannot play in this game. I'd say 65%. If he's anything lower than 70%, he's out for me. But yeah, I want him at a high level, obviously going into this game to be aggressive and to have those battles through the middle, especially when you're going up against Mo Fotuaika, Tino and Carrigan to start a game. You want Payne Haas at 100%. So hopefully he is 100% going into this one. The Martin and Crichton, 2 back rowers. Obviously, Crichton and Martin. Angus will probably play left. Martin play right would make the most sense. We talked about, obviously, swapping them up depending on if Cleary's playing left side. It looks like Cleary is playing right side, so that wouldn't make sense to swap that around. You do get a Moses and Crichton combo, which I think would be really good, especially with Moses' running game as well. He'll just come in, run in, and provide support. So if Crichton does break the line with his massive fend, you have a guy like Moses running back in on the inside, and I think those two will build a really good combination like that as well. They'll set up opportunities for each other. So I don't mind that combo. But Martin on that right side, super dangerous, really good ball runner. The only question that I have is Mr. Hudson Young sitting on the bench in jersey number 16. Where does he come into the game? Does he come in on an edge? And who is that going to be at the cost of? Who is going to play the less amount of minutes from Crichton and Martin? That's going to be big as well. Do you take off Angus Crichton or move Angus Crichton into the middle for Hudson Young? And if so, how long for? How many minutes is Hudson Young going to get in this game? Or do you put Hudson Young at lock and you just get him to tackle his ass off like he has off the bench in the past for New South Wales? I think if you want to get the best out of Hudson Young, personally, I'd start him and have Angus Crichton coming off the bench. But I think second best, you have him coming on an edge. I don't think you can play Hudson Young through the middle of the field. Obviously, you got King, you got Lenu there. They'll do all the tough stuff in regards to, being those tough middle forwards that are going to fight for every inch. You don't want Hudson Young being that tackle bot there through the middle. I want Hudson Young coming on an edge. Whether that be for Angus Crichton, obviously Hudson Young's preferred edge is left side. Whether it be Liam Martin he comes off for, maybe Angus Crichton goes to the right side for a little bit. Keen to see where Hudson Young comes onto the field and for how long. Honestly wouldn't shock me if Hudson Young doesn't get on the field or he gets on for 15 minutes. It really is going to depend on the game and how Angus Crichton and Liam Martin are performing. But yeah, keen to see where he comes on, his role, how long for as well. And same deal for Watson. Where does he come into the game? Again, I think it's going to be very game dependent. How is Robson looking? How, tired or fatigued is he looking in defence? Obviously, Robson can play the full 80. He's done it at Origin before. But, obviously, if Robson is fatigued, he comes on at 9, Connor Watson. Otherwise, he'll come on through the middle. Maybe not even come on at all. Again, it is going to be very game dependent as to where these guys come onto the field. Moving to Queensland. and a few points for them. KP, obviously coming into this one, form hasn't been 100%. And obviously, a lot of Knights fans are talking at the moment, especially after Fletcher Sharp's come in at fullback and he scored, a try and set up majority of the tries for Dylan Lucas. There's been a lot of chat, obviously, around Fletcher Sharp and Kalen Ponga. Kalen Ponga, his start to the year. I think that you got to completely forego, your previous opinions on Kalen Ponga from this year specifically, and you got to look at KP back in Origin at fullback, not at lock forward like he was last year. Back in Origin at fullback, really good pack in front, behind him as well. In Tino, in Mo, in Carrigan. He's also got DCE and Munster, who are going to set him up for plenty of opportunities and running in support. How keen, Munster is to break the line. And he's been in some dangerous form himself, Cameron Munster. I think you got to completely forego every opinion you've had about Kalen Ponga this year and look at KP from an Origin perspective. He's going to come in, he's going to do well. And I think he's going to carve up. He's going to be a real danger and a real threat to New South Wales. Xavier Coates. Now, there's been a lot of chat about Xavier Coates. He's trained both left and right side, leading up to this game. Where does he play? If you put him on the left side, he's obviously going to be going up against Lomax. You got to remember as well, Coates, his preferred side is left side. So he'd be more comfortable there, but in the same breath, he's obviously going up against Lomax, who, is an aerial specialist as well. So I think from that standpoint, you want a guy that is also an aerial specialist in Xavier Coates. I'd even say more so an aerial specialist than Lomax to be arcing up and guarding against him. If you put him on the right side, he's obviously going up against Brian Toto and Latrell, but he does provide defensive support to Robert Toya and Jeremiah Nanai, who, aren't the best defensive guys, or at least this year. To be honest, they've actually looked deeper into Robert Toya's defense. It's actually not too bad. It's not as bad as what I thought it was. It was probably just, when he was paired up with Dom Young, that side was leaking quite a few points. But obviously going with Holmes there on that right side as well. Holmes hasn't been the best defender for the past 2 years as well. So that's obviously going to be a little bit of a concern. If you put Coates on that side, it does shore up that right edge defensively a little bit. And obviously, again, you get that defensive support going up against a Latrell Mitchell, going up against a Brian Toto, going up against an Angus Crichton, a Mitchell Moses, which is going to be a really strong left edge for the Blues. So having that cover on the right side, a bigger body to handle those guys. And Coates, I think a big part of his game that not a lot of people talk about is his defense. So I think that's going to be huge as well, if they do put him on that right side. But keen to see what it is, because obviously in Origin in the past, he's played right. His preferred side, and the side he plays for Melbourne, is on the left. Where do you put him? For me, I'd be putting him on the left. He's more comfortable there, and you've got a guy that can mark up against Lomax. It makes the most sense, in my opinion. But that right edge for the Maroons then is under a little bit of threat. You got Toya, you got Nanai, you got Val Holmes. Defensively, as a combination, probably won't be the best defensive edge. It puts a lot of pressure on Robert Toya to arc up against Trell and Toto, Holmes as well, and Nanai. A big criticism of his game has been his defense. I actually have a feeling that Cotter will play right back row to shore up that side, or at least this is what I'd be doing. I'd be playing Cotter in the right back row, and I'd actually move Nanai over to the left, because Nanai's actually played his better footy on the left back row. So I'd have Nanai on the left. He's defended better on the left as well for the Cowboys, and I'd have Cotter really shoring up that defensive right edge. So then you're leaking a lot less points, and you have a real solid, great defender who's played right back row for Queensland before to cover up. Nanai can then focus on the attack. You've got a really strong left edge there for the Maroons. In Cotter, Hammer and Coates. You've got you've got Coates, Hammer, Munster, I should say. You move Nanai over to that edge. It's a really strong left edge there for the Maroons. From an attacking standpoint, you can throw a lot of kicks their way as well. It would be really, really dangerous. So I think that's probably the best point of action to go with there. You'd have Cotter to shore up the right edge, and then Nanai on the better attacking edge, for the Maroons on that left. You move him over there, and then there's so many threats you have to worry about for the Blues if you're the right edge defense of Critter and Lomax. Critter, obviously the best defensive center in the game at the moment. That's going to be a test for him as well, that left edge for the Maroons. Other points I've got here pretty much just rattled off everything. Toya, big test going up against Trell. I think that Toya will play right side, which would make the most sense. So going up against Trell Mitchell, it's going to be a huge test. He'll need to arc up and obviously defend hard as well in this one. It's a massive test for him from an attacking standpoint as well. Running up against Trell, it's going to be a real tough assignment for Robert Toya. What else have I got here? Dearden, his role off the bench as well. Does he play hooker? Does he play in a lock forward capacity? How many minutes does Grant have to play? Does Harry Grant have to play 80 minutes? That's going to be a big thing as well. Firma and Liero, their roles in this side as well. Where do they play? Bo Firma, does he come on in the back row? I think that's probably the most likely. I think that Nanai will only play 50 minutes at left back row, and then you put Firma on to play the rest of it. Liero, I think that he'll come on through the middle as a front row with Collins. Obviously, a little bit more mobile, quick play the balls, stuff like that. I think that Liero, is going to be a real threat for Queensland. I think that he's played well this year. I think he's played well enough where he'll handle himself against these big forwards, but that's going to be the real test for him. Collins, massive concern around him coming into this game. We've spoken about it on the podcast already. Form and fitness for me. That game against the Dogs concerns me with him going into Origin, and I think it would concern a lot of Maroons fans. The fact that they've picked Collins there in a game where he went really poorly, for the Roosters against the Dogs, leaked 2 tries over a Corey Horsburgh, who probably deserved to be in this side as well, and who everyone had in their side. It's probably the biggest Origin brushing. We won't talk about that. We talked about that on the Team List pod, so if you want to listen to that chat, go back and listen to it. But Collins, massive test for him. Fitness and form is going to be huge. A huge test there for Lindsay Collins. In regards to who wins, for me, I've got New South Wales. I just think that they've got so many attacking points. I think if this Cleary and Moses combo works, it could really work well. Troll roaming is going to be a punish. If Edwards and Haas are playing good footy, they're going to be deadly as well. I think that just defensively, they've got a better outfit here, the Blues, than what the Maroons have. There's a lot of question marks around the combos and the edges, and defensively how they're going to handle themselves. A few players with question marks on their names going up against some really good Blues players. Obviously as well, you've got King and Lenu for the Blues coming off the bench. We didn't even talk about that, but that combo there with those two coming off the bench, that's going to be going gnarly. I just like this Blues side better, and I think that it's a little bit better than this Maroon side. I think that, they've already got the edge over Queensland at Suncorp. Queensland are going to come out rough. I think the Blues will handle it. So give me the Blues to win 1-12. And then if I'm picking try scorers here, I am going to go with... Oh, tough one. Who should I go with here for the Blues? I am going to take Latrell Mitchell to score anytime. Latrell Mitchell into the Blues 1-12. Queensland try scorer, I'm going to go with Xavier Coates. Let's throw that into a bit of a multi. As I said, recording this on Monday, so price is subject to change as well. Getting up the sports bet. Should I have had this prepared earlier? Probably, but I haven't. Clear bets. Go state of origin. Hub. Sure. That's not what we want. State of origin. Boom. We want New South Wales 1-12 at $2.70. Great price. And then I'm going to go with Xavier Coates into a Latrell Mitchell, and that is paying $11.75. Get on it, but make sure to gamble responsibly. For free and confidential support, call 1-800-858-858 or visit gamblinghelponline.org.au. That is your Origin preview, guys. Make sure you go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube, become a part of the big LEZ'S League community. As I said, plenty of great content coming your way. If you want a bit of a deeper breakdown into the team list, make sure to go ahead and click on the YouTube video that will come up on either side of me in a second, but make sure you go ahead and subscribe. We'll see you guys in the next one.